All right. So welcome. Thanks for joining. I believe we'll spend the next few, like say 30 minutes or so, discussing something pretty interesting, and we'll try to build something that you could probably go ahead and look forward to build on your own. I'll share all the interesting, important details so that at the end of this session, but feel free to stop me in between if you have any questions. So that way, we make sure that it is very informal in nature. I know usually in Meetup you get to see people and stop them, raise a hand. I think it's getting trickier to do these meetings in the tough situation. And also, I appreciate that all of you are joining and doing this meeting with us because I know it's really a tough situation at home back. I'm Arvind, and I work at Elastic, and I run the developer relations for India and Southeast Asia. So I kind of meet people, do the regular speaking activities, but also pretty interested in looking at new technologies. I'm part of all the Kubernetes open source project, and also contribute to it in a different format. uh, yeah, so that's about me. That's what I do. So quickly getting into the topic, I have very few slides to explain a bit about what is this about, and then we'll quickly go into the demo, spend some time on how do you build that and how do you show more details actually. So generally, when we are talking about search, more importantly, when you're talking about something that you want to find out or in some information, you might kind of want to put you're searching for something that serves your purpose, right? So it is very useful in many sites, and it's really omnipresent in many ways. So it might be an e-commerce site, it might be something like Uber, Lyft, or ride sharing apps, or it might be something like finding food, multiple use cases. So it could be many things, because search is a common thing, and people use it for all sorts of use cases. But also, search is trickier in sometimes to do many things when people try to search on. How is it being like an admin for the search engine, and how is it really being, tuning the search results for your the users who are trying to search on the specific app. So that's where it really it really changes the things, and how efficiently you can manage that. And you might also know that, obviously, Elasticsearch is a popular open source search engine, but app search is something more, and which is built on Elasticsearch, which gets all the love from Elasticsearch, but it also adds ease of use, you being a developer. So we're going to discuss more about all of these topics, and more specifically about search. So as you know that, the entire solution is, the search solution is powered by Elastic Stack, wherein Elasticsearch is the heart and the heart and soul of this entire stack. It's a distributed NoSQL REST-based storage engine, and then you have Kibana, which is on top of Elasticsearch, and you have Beats and Logstash, which are like data ingestion module wherein you can ingest data into Elasticsearch. But today we are going to talk more specific about Elasticsearch, because I think App Search runs directly on Elasticsearch. It's like a layer above it. I'll also show you how the architecture is with App Search and without App Search, and how do you interact today, and what are the things that happens in the field, like when you're trying to set up Elasticsearch as a search engine, etc. We'll also see some UI related things, so that you will understand how do you get started if you want to quickly get into a website and make things. So more specifically, when we talk about app search comes into, like a search product, and we call it as Elastic Enterprise Search. It's one of the solutions that powers app search. There are the other two solutions, as you might know, as Elastic Observability and Elastic Security. So we're gonna talk more about app search. So enterprise search is the solution that we're gonna focus on. A bit about the other names that are there in the slide deck, like say workplace search or site search. So workplace search is like your like the generic search engine wherein you have multiple data sources, from different, say multiple data sources from different, like say G Drive, Box, Salesforce, all of these API oriented, where you store a lot of data. You can connect all the data sources and we'll sync it and we'll provide a search UI on top of it. More useful for if you are developing an internal portal for your organization, or say that if you have a lot of documents that you want to provide an experience to the customer or the user to your organization, probably you might use workplace search. So yeah, so that's about the workplace search. Then you also have site search, which is more or less like, a crawler built in, wherein you can crawl any site, like say in any site specifically, and then and like build a search experience, provided that the site allows you to crawl. And this is more often very useful for a public sector space, wherein you have a city site, and I mean the county, or probably a specific site for that region, and then you want to provide a search experience on specific documents, or even the entire website. Site search can literally spin off search pretty easily. So I'm going to talk more about app search, but before that, Elasticsearch is so popular and so easy to use as well. You might really have touched Elasticsearch in the last 24 hours, because there are a lot of applications which use Elasticsearch as a search engine under the hood, and you might be literally searching on them. Like bunch of them I've shown, like Uber, Help, or even multiple other like Samsung and different organizations actually. So Elasticsearch has like these features which I did highlight. Like, it's a distributed search engine, NoSQL data store, REST API enabled, and you also have a lot of multiple use cases. From the point of search, faster, you could do something like query as you type, like autocomplete, typo correction, like fuzzy search. Then you also have aggregations, which help you to do a lot more number crunching, etc. But then, like, why do we talk about app search? Like, Elasticsearch is really great, and it looks amazing. Like, why do we still need to talk about app search? Well, that all that is true. I mean, we always need something like a silver bullet. It's something that we can easily consume. And Elasticsearch is a huge system, and it's very raw, and that means that the power of the system is really, really more. And I also talk about something like Elasticsearch is like a clay where you mold into a shape that you want. Either do something like same with it, security, storing event data, or store something like a time series data. I mean, more often into logs, metrics, APM traces in the observability space, or store your documents about your restaurants, movies, or like your different sort of documents, and then ingest the metadata and then provide a search experience. So it can be tuned in different formats. So it's like a clay, and you could build different products with it. But app search is more of like a silver bullet from the Elasticsearch place. So I'll also talk about. I mean, before we go into demo, I'll also show you, the architecture without app search. So if you want to build an Elasticsearch cluster today, you might very well have we generally don't recommend directly accessing Elasticsearch cluster from the public web or directly by the user. So you might well have a search or a server in between, which handles all the API calls and everything for you. But then app search is just a layer on top of it, which manages everything for you, and then makes things easier. So how is this happens? Like, let me quickly go and do the demo, so that we will get things started. So I'm choosing Elastic Cloud to I mean, run this infrastructure at this point of time. But then you could also download app search. It can be, you can run it in your private data center if you want to. But then, like, in the interest of time, I also have spin up instance already, but I'll show you one. So say that yeah, let me quickly get into this one. I believe I'm not really going so fast, so that I believe that it's easy for you to consume. So what I did is, like, I just started a deployment. I chose app search as a template. You can see the default specs, and if you want, you can also increase the RAM and other stuff. So App Search is a product that we acquired, I think, roughly 2 years back, 2.5 years back, and it's also called as SwiftType.com. And it's quite interesting in terms of like how you can use Elasticsearch. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So while this gets spinned up, like let me show you App Search really. Once this gets deployed, you would generally get an Elasticsearch cluster, a Kibana instance, which is of course free, and then you also have a App Search instance as well. So at this point of time, App Search is run separately in a separate UI, but we look forward to take feedback on how you really feel about this UI, and whether what you look forward. So basically, when you click on the App Search here, which it's gonna come in a minute, I'm just trying to show you. Let me copy this password, and like I'm just trying to show you. Oh shit, no. Okay. So this is something similar, wherein you get Elasticsearch cluster, Kibana, and then you have App Search. So when I click on launch, I would be seeing a username password, and then I'll enter the username password that I've copied over there. So and then I'll be shown this UI. In some cases, you'll also be seen like the onboarding experience, wherein you can create a search engine. So let me see if I could show the onboarding experience itself. Generally takes a bit of time, roughly 3 minutes to 4 minutes to spin up the cluster. That's why I have this one open. So you just have that, the username password thing, and then you could simply log in, and then it shows the UI. So unlike Elasticsearch, App Search shows and you can manage things as search engines rather than indices. So I believe that majority of you like have a idea about how Elasticsearch works. Elasticsearch works in an index format, and like you have all the data stored, sent to Elasticsearch in a JSON format, and then you kind of do the search API query, and then you will be able to do all of that. So in the same manner, App Search works. So let me quickly go through and create an engine here. So say if I have a specific data set, I try to show something that has all the features. Like I try to get, but movies is the best possible one, which you also get a poster path, so that I could also show you something similar. So when I click on the create engine, you could see that I have a page automatically open, paste JSON, and also upload JSON. And then you could also do it by API. So this is a URL, a sample URL, so that you could simply go and like get started. There are few limitations, I believe, like from the point of sending data back to the, sending data, like say the usual request body limitations, like say we accept 5,000 documents or this much amount of megabytes that the request body can accept. So, but other than that, you can send the data through API. There are, at this point of time, again, I would like to stress out, don't worry if you see that the link here goes to SwiftType.com, which is still Elastic site. You'll be able to see what are the clients and the things that are there. You could also write your own, like it's simple API. You could also choose your own language and write it. If you are into something like Java or something, you'll be able to do that as well. So yeah, so the API documentation and everything as well is there on SwiftType.com. We look forward to integrate the back into the Elastic.co as well. Now, let me quickly paste some JSON. So there is some national parks data set that we by default offer, like 2 or 3 documents. But then I chose to ingest something more interesting, like I said, movies, right? More importantly, like Bollywood movies, right? So let me copy some of the things here. So basically, I have added just a few documents, and then the search engine is kind of ready. So before getting into more details of how the search works, etc., let me show you how the document looks like. Say that if you have a film, and then what are the different the details, and it just looks like any other. It's a JSON document, and we just ingest that. You could also say that you want to split up specific field into multiple multiple fields, or change the way that it is being shown. You could also put through the ingestion pipeline through something like Logstash. We have a app search input connector through which you could connect to app search instance and like stream the data in a format that you want to do. So that's quite possible as well. And then yeah, you would also obviously have a schema. So if you want to somehow say that say something is like, I don't have a location field, I believe here, but say if you have something like a location and you want to change it, unlike again in the Elasticsearch way, you would be able to like simply click on the type and then say that update types. It would simply reindex. So it's just Elasticsearch, but tuned in a way that very so you don't need to. It has a UI. It also has a lot of other features that helps you to like make things accessible pretty quick. So I stress on pretty quick very often. The reason being, I'll show a project, and then from there we can take off. So now that you have a document in the search engine, and also you have the schema in place, there you could confirm that, okay, this is what I want to really see. I'll quickly show you something called reference UI. So creating a search engine indexing data is not so maybe not so difficult, just sending data over, but definitely creating a search experience on top of the data that you have in a beautified manner might take time. So what we have done here is we understand how important it is to have a great search experience. So we have created a project called App Search Reference UI. So what it does is, okay, let me click into that. Great. So I kind of have a specific, we kind of have a specific project called App Search Reference UI. So Reference UI is like a UI library that is built on top of React. And then like you would simply be able to spin out experience. You could also get started, clone the project, and get started here with the instructions, which is another way of doing things. I just didn't do that. I am just choosing the UI to like spin off an app. So I'll also show you why it's easier to do this way as well. From other way, App Search also, App Search Reference UI is based on another project again. It's called Search UI. So what Search UI does is like, it's the core library which contains all the React components. So you could use that in any, not even, it also has headless format, so that if you are into UI, you could use it on any JavaScript framework, say Vue.js or probably other JSS which does into the React framework as well. So you could do that. So Search UI is the common thing. Let me show you the picture simply. So now I have multiple fields. So as you see that when I ingest a document, and then you could also see that there are multiple attributes, and then all the attributes are in here, and you also see the projection of how the site would look like once I click generate a preview. So I'll simply click on something like original titles somewhere. Okay, say if I click on original title, then I have filters. Say if I want to filter based on the rating, and filter based on release date, and then sort based on, say runtime, like a time field, like more longer movie, smaller movie. Then also have poster path, so that when I click on the link, it should probably take me to that. So URL field is something that gets shown, or probably when you click, it takes you there. Like people also can give URL field as an action link, where the document that you want to take, make people to go or link to a next page. When I click generate preview, so what we generate is an app, right? It's a React app filled in with all the data that is coming in from the documents that are present in the engine, and a lot of this. Now the interesting thing happens, you could simply search this data. Like it's really, say if I want to search drama, and yeah, okay, sorry. I think it's already there. So let me find out. Yeah, say that I have this data, and then it's searchable, and you also have all the the regular the autocomplete experience and everything. The all of this is by default. It comes pretty easily because of the library, and which is again connected to the app search connector and all of this. So let me quickly go and show you this the React zip, the app that was generated. So I have this present in the downloads. Okay, I'll show you from here. So please feel free to ask any questions or stop me in between if you have any, like specific questions about where we are heading, or anything that we are discussed till now. So if you see that it's having a specific thing like movies E and React demo UI. So if I click on this, so all I get is something like a React.js app, and then I could simply do npm install, and it installs all the necessary fields and stuff that is needed according to the package.json. And then what I could simply do is I could simply say npm run, and it runs on the local host. I mean, it kickstarts an app, the same app, and the only thing that I need to do as a developer is to choose appropriate CSS framework and then get kickstarted. And I'm very good. Even in sometimes you could also simply do a push to Netlify and then make your site live. So yeah, it's mostly ready, I believe. Okay, great. So if I say, okay, again, just to make it visible to you. Oh, okay, sorry, that's my fault. So if I start this, and simply starts the app on localhost 3000 and brings me the same UI that I have shown you in some time. Yeah, great. So from here, you just need to edit the code that is there here, say this particular place, and then just add more and more stuff. So let me also show you more details about how we can beautify it as well a bit, and then we'll quickly get back to the search UI. So until then, I mean, I'm happy to take questions. So if you have any questions, please ask. No questions? Either it is quite easy to consume, or probably maybe you're finding it faster or difficult. So let me find some more. Let me show you some more details. So what I have done is I have a search engine already built in. So you can have multiple search engines here in the app search, like say multiple search engines. So I have created this one and showed you the app, and it's running here. But then I also have the movies part, and I mean another search engine through which I have made some queries, some data, so that we could see some analytics, etc. So I have made a similar app. It is connected to my account, and then I have downloaded that app, and I'll run it, and I'll show you how that app really looks like. Okay, there is a question from Nancy. So who is hosting? Like I said here, you can host it in anywhere. Like say currently this particular deployment that we have done, the new deployment that I have done now is in Google Cloud. You could also choose in one of the regions that, one of these clouds, and then one of these regions. So it's pretty simple. Let me quickly get back. So yeah, I have this second engine, which says movies, not movies EN, and I have a bunch of documents, and then I have all the same settings. Now, before I come to these settings, I'll show you how the app looks like, and what are various things that you can simply do with it. So this is the same movies React demo. I just have this app. So what I've done is I have included, CSS. Okay. So I've included a CSS, say I've downloaded a specific CSS framework, and I've included that. And what I've done is like I've just changed the UI, a bit of UI and very less, and the format how it looks like. You also have something like there are multiple tags which are React components. If you are not into React, if you are not into front end more, don't worry. This should not be like looking like a different language to you. So what I'll do is like we could also use another API client to write code in your own chosen language. That can be done, but this is more into React UI because the search UI is built in React. So what I've done is there are multiple tags which sets the layout and which sets everything here. So I have changed one specific tag and added specific, the class name and a different CSS class. So if I save this and, if I quickly go back, and I believe I have a tab open here. Great. So I have another one open here, which is the same app, but a different instance of app that was downloaded. So if I click this, and it will start that particular app and reload that. But just observe the search bar, and then you can beautify it in a different format. So I just added the CSS here.
Arvind, Zenit has raised his hand.
Okay.
Zenit, did you have a question?
Yes. First of all, I wanted to ask: are the search requests are they going first to app search and then to Elastic, or do they go directly to Elastic afterwards?
No, like I said in the architecture diagram here, the search requests directly go to the app search server. You can have another proxy before it, but you can directly redirect the search requests to app server. So like the search requests are going through the app search. So your API endpoint is this one. Like, where is that?
Okay, thank
you. You have the API endpoint that I've shown in the previous one. Like you have the API endpoint as that, and then you interact with that. So that's why I was trying to show you the app as well. So you have something like when you download this app, you have something like engine.json, wherein you'll see where the endpoint, which endpoint you're trying to connect, and what is the engine name, what is the host indicator, and search key, and all the fields. So it's not just the UI. You can change things here and get a different, the way to search, different way to see the results, and, a lot of these interesting updates. Now, one thing that I didn't touch base here is, obviously the UI simplifications that I've added, that can be done. But then one thing that I didn't touch about, how do you access this, the endpoint? There are different ways of it operates in an API key format. Let me go and show you the credentials and other stuff as well. So you have a credentials link here. There are two types of keys, which are by default gets generated for all the engines, but you can also create a key. Say, if I create this key, so there are again different types of keys. You could create a public search key, which is only limited to the search operations, say read, but not the create, update, delete. So this key would be, you can share it to the client where the app that you are building on top of app search can be given, and then they will use it to search, so that it's well protected, that nobody will be able to delete your, the documents that are in the engine. Through the API, and again, the API keys are spread over. But then you also have a private key or an admin, or more into the admin key. Suppose you have a specific set of instances that you want to say that you have a relational database which contains the data, and then you wrote a connector or something to sync data in between Elastic App Search and then your database. Then you might need a key which will sync the data between the database and your like the app search, which does the create, read, update, and delete, which kind of does everything. So a private API key is something that you could use for that sort of use case. And then you also have admin keys, wherein more specifically into the administration, look into the UI and dedicate roles and a lot of these things. So the URL and things that I have logged in is more into the admin functionality, so that I'm able to see all the other functionality here. So suppose if I create a public search key, I could also see which engines I want to limit up and other stuff as well. So you might also get a point to see that, can I restrict people to see only some data? Can I restrict my search key? How do I do that? So there is another concept called meta engines. So say that if I have two engines, say if I have a meta engine, which is amalgamation or like a correlation, or trying to put two engines together and show the results, I can choose which data to be displayed here. And I say if I create meta engine, it summarizes both of them. And then in the result settings, so I can set, which result to be shown and which to be not. And then I can give the search result. We also have a sample response. Say now that everything is being displayed, it is shown as query performance delayed, because the reason being, it's a lot of data. I could remove some of these, like say the more, the one that has a lot of data, and then like see that the query performance gets better. No, it's still delayed. So yeah, you can make these settings dynamically. The key part here is all of this while in your production, you can make these changes, save them, and this gets affected to your, the search engine. So it's pretty easy that way. So it's useful if you are trying to build something, like a large scale e-commerce search engine, and then you want to tune some weights and make sure a specific, or want to run a specific sort of like program, or even if you want to understand what users are searching in, which I'll talk about in a minute. So that way it helps a lot. I hope I did answer your question. Yeah. So again, coming back to the story here. So I have an app. Obviously, I added some UI beautification so that the things are displaying here. It's as simple as to get started and do all of this. So you also have this search bar which got changed, and I could add my brand icon and simply get start. So there are multiple other things with app search as well. If you have to talk about different things, you could query test the specific queries that you want to test. Like say, if I want to see what does action, if I type action, what sort of movie shows up and what are the weights, and see that if you don't want to show some movies, or say that you want to avoid kind of stuff, demote some movies, you can do all of that actually. You could configure synonyms, say that I believe that elastic shouldn't be there. Okay, let me say something that say Swift type. So there is nothing like Swift type, as you see. So what I could simply do is create a synonym for it. Like synonyms is a popular feature in Elasticsearch as a search engine. You could create a synonym, say Swift type is India. And obviously I believe this is an Indian movie data set. So I believe that you would get a lot of use cases. Say if I say Swift type, now if you see that it shows data, previously it was not showing data. So the synonym is configured. So whenever people search for equivalent things, like say, if some people have specific acronyms to search for food or search for places, and say like MTV means Mountain View. Of course, it can be a TV channel name as well, but then MTV means Mountain View. I can simply type MTV, and I would like to see all the restaurants in MTV. Then, or else like if you want a specific, say, food item, and I have an acronym for it, and then BBQ, right? So something of that sort. So you could type synonyms and make sure that, and all of these synonyms can be editable, and like you can keep adding synonyms as well for specific term. And then you also have something like curations. So basically, it's a lot of features actually, and that you can really play around and build all of this. And whatever I'm talking today, and all of this is available as API as well, so that you could do it from your own app, or change it dynamically as well. So say that if I want to if I want to show some specific document, highlight or promote a specific document, say if I type drama and then I have a bunch of documents, and then if I want to highlight this specific result, I can click on promote result, and then every time I type drama, this result would show up in the search result. I can save this. This is called curation. On the other hand, if I don't want this document to be shown at all, so what I could also do is demote this result. Say that I could simply click on don't show this, and it will be demoted in the search result. So it doesn't show it out into this your stuff actually. So that is one another way to look at things as well. So curations is an interesting topic again. It directly affects, and all of this you could simply go and test using the query tester here. And what else we can look into it? Yeah, the most important part in all of this is the relevance tuning. Suppose if you want to give more priority to when people were searching, if you want to give more priority into the title of the movie, or say the restaurant or the location or multiple factors, you would want to tune the relevance in such a format that the more preference is being given to that particular thing. Say if I give something like, say again, okay, let me choose something different, action. So I typed something action. It's showing the genre because it's the generic setting. Now everything is one here. It's equally based out like at this point now, but I want to give more a preference to the title rather than like that genre. I could adjust the weight in such a manner so that that particular one would get do this. You would also eliminate the field to be searchable, so that reduces your search burden on when you're searching it. So that is another way to look at things as well. So you can save this and keep this relevance, or anybody in the team and can come look and change things if it is not looking appropriate. So let me quickly go back and show you one more thing before I take more questions and show you the resources. So what's in the search engine, like when you not be able to find out what people were searching and tune it for the users. So app search comes with analytics dashboard as well. So here I could choose what people are searching, seeing, things like that. And say I have chosen a specific time period, and I could see that what sort of searches that I have made. And then the top queries, how many times I have searched nothing, I've searched something, how many times that I have queries which doesn't have any results. Like I said, if you want to configure a specific if you want to configure a specific kind of synonym or acronym tied to a specific term, you would probably want to look at what are the top queries with no results. And when you have the data, but if your users are not able to see the data, which is a red flag, and you might want to correct that. So that is one another thing to look at. And then how many times I've clicked on the thing. So not just having that, but how many times I have clicked on, this particular link and went in through. So the click-through analytics is also available. You can track clicks, how many people have clicked it, and how many people didn't click when they have searched, but they don't find something relevant. So there are more and more of these, and you could also see the API logs about how people were using the APIs, how things have, things have changed over a period of time. Are there any 400s? Are there any resource not found? Is any document got removed by someone? So a ton of things, a ton of stuff that you could do with app search. Again, any questions at this point? So we kind of like end of the talk. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take.
Yeah, I have a few.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how about aggregations? So let's say you have your movie index, and
Great.
you want to search actors, and you want to rank the actors in a specific way. In this case, you would in Elastic usually need aggregations. Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, actually, I mean, there is, I believe, like not straightforward, like just like Elasticsearch, but I believe there is a way. Let me quickly bring up the documentation to show you something which is very similar. So there are different types of ways to search, even app search. Let me quickly pull that up. You could do the same thing. You could do some sort of a number crunching and do stuff. So, uh, so then there is this guide, like you would simply be able to do some hierarchical facets, like what you were telling, that like say sort the particular field in a specific format, and do some sort of things. But I would definitely say that it is not something like it's not something like your regular Elasticsearch where you ask and do a aggregation, multiple aggregations or histograms or other stuff. But then I would also point you out, if you really want to do analytics on the data that is present there, you could simply use the Kibana here. Like say, let me quickly go back, because that we have created. So all the data is still stored in Elasticsearch. And if you want to build if you want to build a specific sort of a format and then put through, you can do that using the Kibana still. I mean, okay, again. So you could simply do that as well. So it is not like straightforward in terms of, if you want to like show some numbers and all of that, you could use the existing API to do that. Like say, which is shown here, like if you have a category, say t-shirts, and you want to show the available stock in a number, and then like kind of emulate that, you can do that as well.
Sorry. I assume that since you have the access then to Kibana and you have the access to the index itself, you would be able to do some more advanced use cases, like to put special analyzers, tokenizers, filters or so.
No, I think, see, that's what is a change, right? So what App Search does is completely solutionize the Elasticsearch experience. It simply, App Search simply like manages the entire Elasticsearch indices. So now all the indices that we are talking here are stored as system indices, are stored in a different format and completely managed. And the data is also completely managed. So if I have to say that if you are really looking forward to like change and do more of, in field tunings, if it's not so simple and straightforward, I would still recommend you to use Elasticsearch. But all the basic use cases related to search, and even in some e-commerce cases, you could use App Search. So I'll also show you a popular US based App Search use case. Like you might know Walgreens as well. And the search bar here is powered by App Search. Now, if I want to search, say, and if I want to find out things related to it, the search bar is still this way. So you will be able to do that. Any questions? Zenith, I believe. Yeah. Any more questions?
No, thank you. You've answered.
Yeah, I think, App Search gives a host of features, and of course, Elasticsearch is still raw powered, and like it has a lot of other stuff that you could play in around and like do it directly to an API. App Search is much simpler, beautified, and easier way to get started as a developer and get things started. So over a period of time, we have brought in a lot of features like meta engines and all of the result settings and multiple features. We look forward to make it more simpler. And if you have any specific feedback or questions that you want to ask, I think you could mail to meetups@elastic.co, or you could also write to me or Phoebe, or like if you have any suggestions to do much different sessions, we would definitely recommend you to ask us, and like please do that. So here are a few links. Say I have a community trial put in, so if you want to get started with the cloud, And then you also have the resources for this particular talk. The presentation is already up to date. I think it's all there, but I'll also see if I could put at a latest link. And then we also have a Slack group. So if you want to ask any more questions, we have an app search channel in the Slack group, a community Slack. So please join if you want to ask and develop stuff. You can do that as well. Yeah. Thank you for joining. And it's wonderful speaking to you.